The moment the insult left her mouth, the entire table fell silent. Harper leaned back in her chair, swirling her drink like she was delivering a TED Talk. "Some women are single because no one wants a struggling woman," she said, loud enough for the waiter 2 tables away to hear. The laughter around the table hit me like a slap. I froze mid-bite, my pulse jumping in my throat. My brother Mark didn't stop her. He just smirked into his napkin like this was normal family entertainment. I felt heat rush to my cheeks, but I kept my chin up. "I'm not struggling," I said calmly. Harper lifted a brow. "Sweetheart, you're still trying to get that little consulting thing off the ground." Little consulting thing. My stomach tightened. Before I could speak, the guy sitting next to my cousin's, Harper's friend's date, glanced at her with a confused frown. Tall, sharp jaw, navy blazer, around 30. He looked like he belonged at a board meeting, not at a messy family dinner. He studied me for a beat, then leaned forward. "You run a consulting agency?" I nodded. "What type?" he asked, genuinely curious. "Startup branding and product launches." His eyes flicked with recognition like he actually understood what that meant. Harper didn't. She scoffed. "Nat, come on. Don't oversell it. It's not like you fund real companies." The guy turned toward her slowly. "Why do you assume she doesn't?" Harper blinked. "Because she's still figuring her life out." "My life is fine," I said, steady this time. He smiled at me, just a small, knowing one. "I believe you." The table shifted uncomfortably. I could almost feel Harper rewiring her next insult. She didn't get the chance. The waiter walked up with a tray, and Harper used the distraction to lean toward me and whisper just loud enough. "Men want women who are stable, Nat. Not ones who are chasing dreams." My grip tightened on my fork. I didn't plan a comeback. I didn't need one. Because the man beside my cousin's cleared his throat, sat up straight, and spoke before she could continue. "For the record," he said, his voice calm but confident, "I didn't come here as anyone's date." Everyone froze. He pointed gently toward me. "I came because she is my investor. She funds my entire startup." Every jaw dropped. Even my fork paused midair. His voice didn't waver. "And just so everyone understands, without her, my company wouldn't exist." Heat rushed to my face, not embarrassment this time, but a fierce, sudden pride. Harper's expression cracked like glass. Mark stared at me like I'd just revealed I lived a double life. And for the first time in years, the room wasn't laughing at me. They were stunned by me. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Revenge had just begun. For a full 5 seconds, nobody said a thing. Not even Harper. Her jaw hung open like she'd just been hit with a bucket of cold water. I watched her eyes dart between me and the man who had just publicly vaporized her insult. He sat calmly, tapping his thumb against his glass. "Sorry if I caused a scene," he said lightly. "I just thought accuracy mattered." Accuracy. I nearly laughed. Harper blinked rapidly, recovering. "Wait, hold on," she said, forcing a smile that was pulling at the seams. "You're what exactly? Her coworker?" "No," he answered politely. "I'm her business partner. My name's Lucas." Mark choked on his soda. "Your partners?" Lucas nodded. "Natalie is one of my angel investors. She believed in my idea when people with bigger checkbooks didn't." The silence in the room twisted into disbelief. My mom whispered, "Angel investor?" Dad squinted at me like he was trying to solve a math problem he'd never studied. "Natalie, you never told us." "You never asked," I said, staying calm. Because this right here, this moment was the reason I had stayed quiet all these years. The reason I didn't update them every month about my business, my clients, or my income. Every time I gave them a piece of good news, they measured it against their expectations. Every time I shared something small, they treated it like it was nothing. So, eventually, I stopped sharing. Lucas slid his chair an inch closer, not intimate, just respectful, like he had my back. She invested early, too. It helped us land our prototype. And once we launch, she's getting a share worth 10 times what she put in. The air thickened. My aunt nearly dropped her fork. 10 times. Harper stared at me like I'd been lying about my entire identity. You fund startups? I fund some, I corrected. I consult for others. Lucas's company is just the latest one. But you never said anything, she sputtered. I gave her a small, polite smile, the kind she usually aimed at me. I didn't think it mattered. Her cheeks reddened instantly. Mark crossed his arms. Why hide it? We're family. I finally looked him straight in the eyes. Because anytime I mentioned my work, you two treated it like a hobby. The table went painfully quiet. Mom opened her mouth but closed it again. Dad took a long sip of water. Harper stared at the tablecloth like it had personally betrayed her. Meanwhile, Lucas just watched me with a soft, supportive expression, like he knew this wasn't about investment or business. This was about reclaiming the part of me they had stepped on for years. Then Harper tried again. So, she said, voice too sweet, since when do you make enough money to invest in anything? Lucas cut in before I could even react. Since long before tonight, clearly. The sharpness in his tone made my stomach flip. He wasn't being rude, just straightforward, and honestly, it was about time someone spoke to her that way. Still, I touched his arm gently. It's okay, Lucas. He relaxed instantly at my voice. I turned back to Harper. I reinvested my profits, I said simply. That's all. The teenager at the end of the table, my cousin's daughter, looked at me like I'd just turned into a superhero. Her mom whispered something to her, probably about hard work or success. It felt surreal. For years, I had been the quiet one, the one building in the background, the one they dismissed. Now they were finally realizing I wasn't figuring myself out. I had found myself already. Harper's voice broke through the tension. Well, good for you, she said weakly, the confidence drained from her tone. I mean, if it makes you happy. It does, I said. A lot. Lucas nodded. And she's incredible at what she does. My heart thudded a little faster at his words. Mark muttered, wow, under his breath, looking almost embarrassed for how he'd treated me before. The power in the room had shifted. And everyone felt it. Harper included. This wasn't the final blow, not yet. But the revenge? It was well underway. Harper stayed quiet for the first time all night, staring into her drink like it held the answers to life. The rest of the table shifted awkwardly, pretending to focus on their food, but everyone was really focused on one thing. Me. The person they had underestimated for years. Lucas leaned closer, not enough to make it romantic, just enough that I felt supported. Do you want to step outside for some air? He asked softly. I shook my head. No. I'm good. I'm done running from people who look down on me. He smiled. That's what I figured. Dad finally cleared his throat. Natalie, why didn't you tell us you were doing all this? Here it came, the moment they expected me to apologize for their assumptions. I sat back and looked at everyone clearly. Because every time I mentioned anything about my business, the response was always the same: doubt, jokes, or silence. I stopped sharing because I was tired of defending my choices. Mom's eyes softened. We didn't mean to make you feel unsupported. Intent doesn't erase the impact, I said gently, not harshly. I just wanted a chance to build something without feeling judged for it. Lucas nodded subtly beside me, that familiar look of respect in his eyes. Harper's voice cut in, shaky this time. So, you're really an investor? Like, officially? Officially, I confirmed. And your business is actually successful? I gave her the smallest smile. Very. She blinked, clearly uncomfortable. Well, good for you. I mean that. But she didn't. Not really. And that was fine. Because the moment she stood up to collect her purse, trying to exit the conversation gracefully, Lucas spoke again. Calm, confident, and devastatingly precise. Before you go, Harper, he said, I just want to add something. She froze mid-step. You told this whole table that men don't want a woman who's struggling. But from where I'm standing, the only struggling tonight came from your assumptions. The table collectively inhaled. Harper opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. Lucas wasn't done. Natalie isn't behind. She isn't lesser. She's the reason my business is alive. She saw potential in me before anyone else did. His voice stayed respectful, but firm. And if you think that's something to mock, then you don't understand success. My chest tightened, not with embarrassment, but with something bright and warm. For years, I had defended myself alone. Hearing someone else say those words felt like the universe finally balanced itself. Harper's face flushed a deep red. I didn't mean to. You did, Lucas replied, but without anger. Just, maybe next time, rethink what you call struggling. Some people are building, not failing. Harper sank slowly back into her chair, defeated. My brother Mark rubbed the back of his neck. Nat, seriously, I'm sorry. We've underestimated you. I nodded, accepting it without bitterness. I know, but I'm not interested in staying the family underdog anymore. The teenager down the table grinned. Honestly, Aunt Nat, that was awesome. Her words made the whole table finally breathe again. Light laughter broke the tension. Lucas turned toward me fully now. You know, he said quietly, you're stronger than you realize. My pulse skipped. I just got tired of being quiet. You were never meant to be quiet, he said. My heart thudded. He wasn't flirting, it wasn't the moment for that. But the sincerity in his voice made something shift inside me. Mark leaned forward. So, what's this startup you two are working on? Lucas brightened instantly. A logistics optimization platform for small suppliers. Natalie helped us build our pitch deck, branding, market entry plan. She practically rebuilt the entire company identity. She even negotiated our seed meeting next month. The table stared at me again. Mom smiled nervously. We honestly didn't realize how much you were doing. I know, I said. But it's okay. Tonight wasn't about proving anything. Lucas glanced sideways at me. It kind of turned into that, though. I laughed under my breath. A little. What Harper intended as humiliation had turned into something else entirely. Clarity. I had my voice back. I had respect. I had confidence that didn't come from validation, but from years of hard work finally being seen. And as I looked around the table, I knew part 4, the final shift, was coming. A shift where I would make the ending mine. A happy one. One they would never forget. The tension in the restaurant had dissolved into a strange mix of embarrassment, admiration, and curiosity. People who had barely acknowledged my work before were now leaning in, asking questions, wanting to know more. It felt surreal, but not overwhelming, freeing. Harper kept her eyes low, stirring her drink like it was suddenly the most fascinating thing she'd ever seen. Every once in a while, she peeked up at me, as if trying to figure out how everything flipped so fast. I didn't rub anything in. Revenge didn't need to be loud. It had already happened the moment the truth hit the table. Lucas leaned toward me with a warm smile. So, how are you feeling now? I breathed out slowly. Lighter. I've spent years letting them define me. Tonight felt like taking my name back. He tapped his fingers gently against the table. You didn't take it back. You reclaimed it. Something soft pulled at my chest. I'd met Lucas through work, respected him professionally, admired his determination, but tonight I saw another version of him. Protective. Steady. Someone who didn't speak for me, but stood with me. My mom cleared her throat, drawing my attention. Natalie, we owe you an apology. I straightened, waiting. We should have believed in you more, she said, her voice gentle but honest. You've grown into someone remarkable. We're proud of you, truly. Dad nodded beside her. We just didn't realize how much you were carrying on your own. I softened. I wasn't carrying it alone. I had people who believed in me, even when you didn't. Lucas nudged my shoulder. Happy to be on that list. The table chuckled lightly. Even Mark finally seemed to get it. Nat, I never meant to make fun of your work. I guess I didn't understand it. But I do now. And I'm proud of you too. I nodded, accepting his words. Thank you. Then came the last piece. Harper. She sat very still, her shoulders tense, her confidence cracked. When she finally looked at me, there was no smirk, just regret. Natalie, she started quietly. I'm sorry. The table went still again. She swallowed hard. What I said earlier wasn't fair. I shouldn't have spoken about you like that. I don't know why I felt the need to compare or criticize. I guess I thought success had to look a certain way and yours didn't fit my mold. She exhaled shakily. But obviously, I was wrong. Her words weren't dramatic. They weren't perfect. But they were honest. And sometimes, honesty is enough. I appreciate that, I said softly. Harper nodded, almost relieved. Lucas leaned back, smiling slightly at me. That was handled beautifully. I didn't want drama, I murmured. Just respect. And you got it, he said. Every bit of it. The waiter dropped the bill off at the table, but before anyone could fight over it, Lucas slid his card onto the tray. My eyes widened. Lucas, this is a family dinner. You don't have to. He shook his head gently. I want to. Consider it a small celebration of your big reveal. He winked. Plus, it'll be a business write-off. The table laughed. Harper even cracked a smile. As everyone stood to leave, Mom hugged me tight. Dad ruffled my hair like he hadn't done in years. Mark squeezed my shoulder and promised to stop underestimating me. Then, as the family filtered out into the cool night air, Lucas walked beside me. You know, he said casually, I didn't lie back there. I glanced at him. About what? You aren't just my investor. He slipped his hands into his pockets. You're the reason I didn't quit. You believed in my idea, and you pushed me forward. I respect you more than you know. Warmth spread through my chest, deeper than anything that came from winning an argument. Thank you, I whispered. He stopped just outside the restaurant door, looking at me with that steady, genuine expression. And if you're open to it, he said, voice softer now, maybe we could get dinner sometime. Just us. No family. No pitches. My heart flipped. I smiled. Real, confident, and finally unburdened. I'd like that. And right there, under the glow of the streetlights, I realized something. The real revenge wasn't humiliating anyone. It was proving, quietly, gracefully, that I was never the weak one in the room. I had built my own life, my own success, my own future, and it was only just beginning.